So I thought I'd make a less dramatic entrance on this video than I did on the first mean comment video. So today I want to continue that series. In this episode I want to do things just a little bit different because I don't only want to talk about the mean comments, but I also want to share some of the great ideas and great questions that came out of this video that I made, or two videos that I made having to do with this subject. And that subject has to do with me using this faux color case coloring. And there was a lot of interest in this, but let me tell you something. Let's talk about the mean comments. And the one that showed up over and over and over again, multiple times, was that is not real color case coloring. Well, thank you all for stating the obvious, and the world is a better place for those comments. Now listen to me. In the entire series, I was very clear that this is not real color case. I was very clear that I was trying this as an experiment. I was very clear that this was an art project that I was trying to understand and to perfect. That I never ever claimed this to be real color case coloring. So for those of you who said that the real stuff is prettier, all right, I can't find fault in that, because there's truth into it, that there's a brightness and a beauty to real charcoal color case coloring that I'm not getting with this faux coloring that I use. But let me tell you something, folks. It is remarkably pretty as a faux color. This is an art project. This was me trying to come up with a way to simulate color case and to do it in a way that more folks, more working class folks can have that results, as opposed to spending the hundreds of dollars that it would take to get this done in real life. This is not me trying to make any claim. So for all of you who stated the obvious, again, you've made the world a better place for it. But as long as I've been doing YouTube, what has occurred to me, and probably should have occurred to me a long time ago, is that not everybody watches all of my videos. People will come in and click on something that they found interesting, either in the title or in the description or in the thumbnail. So they don't all go back and watch all of my videos, and they don't all get to see when I make these very, very clear, obvious statements that I'm not trying to fool anybody or market something that is not real. That's not who I am. That's not what I do in this shop. Okay, that out of the way, let's talk about some of the great ideas that have been presented to me that I found interesting. So for instance, I had a couple people suggest that we put some kind of a finish coat over this to help protect it, because again, this is a coloring process much like bluing. So it is robust, but it's sort of temporary in its nature, that it can be worn off probably faster than the real color case finish could be. So I had some folks suggest that we put some kind of a finish over that. There were several finishes that were mentioned. And on another channel put on by real gunsmiths, and for you that watched my last one, you'll understand that reference, that one of those real gunsmiths suggested that the manufacturers back in the day used to put a coat of thin finish, the same varnish they would put on the gun stocks, on the metal, the color case, to help protect it and keep it lasting longer. I did that. I went back and I put some thin finish on the metal, and it actually brightened it up, and it is beautiful. So my hat's off to Real Gunsmith Mark for that suggestion, and it's beautiful. It is. What I want to do is also show you some before and after pictures. Now I did this over a year ago, and I have the pictures or photographs from when I did this, and I'm going to show you some photographs or some video maybe up close today. This is a year later, and I'm here to tell you that this thing looks just like it did a year ago. So one of the concerns from a lot of viewers was that it's going to fade, it's going to go away, it's just going to end up being, one guy said that he's tried this and everything he did turned brown. And I'm telling you that the color that I put here, which includes the blues, the golds, the browns, they're still here, and I do want to show you that. Several folks asked me where I got the color from, and it's called Steel FX. It's on the internet. You can search it, you can buy it. The guy who invented this stuff sells it, he markets it himself, and Steel FX. And you have to sort of learn to use faux techniques. If you don't know the word faux, it means, what does it mean? It means to create something or create the image of or create a finish that looks like the real thing but is actually something that's created through an art process. This is art. This was me creating art. And as I said early on, I never tried to suggest it was anything other than that. I had several commenters say that it was beautiful, and it is. I've had several people ask me what the longevity of it is, and I don't know. I did this rifle, and it is my experiment. It is me saying, well, how long will this hold up? And as I said, it is stunning, it is beautiful. It's a year at this point, and it's holding up really just like it did when I put it on. How long will it hold? How long will it last? I don't know. Will it last 2 years, 3 years, 5 years? I don't know. One of the interesting things, I mentioned this in one of those earlier videos, that Ruger, on their Vaqueros, their early Vaqueros, they used to do something similar to this. They didn't use a chemical process in as much as they applied it, but they did use a salt heat treat bath in order to create the color that they put on the early Vaqueros. Now those early Vaqueros are stunning, they're beautiful, and I would rather own one of those early ones than some of the newer ones because I like the look. One of the common complaints about the early Vaqueros is that finish does fade over time. And I suppose that if you leave it in the sun or exposed to the atmosphere, that you're going to have that color fade. Any of the ones that I've owned have not faded. They still are as bright and blue as they were, but those are kept in the original containers, in the original boxes, in the dark. So does that contribute? I don't know. But this idea of using a coloring, a fake coloring, is not anything that's new. In fact, everybody now is using Cerakote. Okay, Cerakote is a color process. It ain't real, it's not traditional, it's a coloring process. There is powder coating, there is e-coats or electro-coating or electroplating coatings. Heritage uses e-coats on their firearms. Listen guys, there are all kinds of ways to finish the metal in the manufacture of firearms. Now, traditional, hey, nobody's going to argue that some of these older firearms with their beautiful finishes, they need to stand the test of time. Those older firearms, those older finishes, they need to be the placeholders. They need to be what we compare the future to, so that we always understand where we came from. And then we can evaluate the future against those things that have happened in the past. That is history and how history works. So, is this thing beautiful? Yes, it is. Faux finishes? Tell me what's wrong with it. If you've been following my channel, you know that I try and rescue a lot of older pieces of wood, older stocks, by simply going in and making patches and repairs the best that I can, using materials or woods that are as close as they can be. But at the end of the day, this wood came out of the forest, in many of these cases, 100 to 150 years ago. And you cannot always match modern cuts, modern lumber to their predecessors that came out of the force so many years before it. You do the best that you can. I have made it a mission, a practice, to learn how to faux color these things so that they replicate as closely as possible the surrounding wood. And it's the same with these, with this color case coloring. I'm not saying it's anything that it isn't. Okay, I recognize the quality of a real color case, and I'm not dissing on it. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying here is an opportunity, an option for using art in a firearm in a way that it hasn't necessarily been used in the past. I'm not telling you what's right or what's wrong. This is simply what I do. If you're interested in having a very detailed replica of the original firearms built for you through these color case finishes, then you should do that. You should find those people and you should have that done. But I need to tell you guys, the average guy, the average worker who's going to have or want to have their firearms restored or refinished, most of them are price conscious. And that's why one of the future mean comments and great question videos that I want to do talks about what do things cost. I hope you enjoyed this little discussion. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We still want to continue to grow this. Guys, I love you. I'm glad you're here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.